In the 1960s, Don Yenko emerged as one of the SCCA's top road racers. But Yenko became famous for what he did away from the racetrack. He took regular Chevy production cars and turned them into bona fide racing machines, selling them at his Pennsylvania car dealership. Not many were made, and relative few still survive, making Yenkos some of the most sought-after collector cars in the world. Today, 4 partners and their team are taking on a huge challenge. Build a replica 1969 Camaro that uses today's technology but remains faithful to the original. It's a gamble that could breathe new life into a legend. Here in Tulsa, the guys at Brand New Muscle Car are making history, building the first 69 Yenko Camaro in half a century. As you may have noticed, Dustin and Jared are 2 of the funniest guys you will ever see.
Wonder Twin Powers, activate.
But when it comes to plying their art, actually painting cars, they take their work very seriously.
When we send our car to the painters, we know exactly how they're gonna work on the car. Really don't have no problems with, saying, oh my God, they're gonna do this, even though we kind of sometimes goof around with each other.
There is not enough toilet paper here!
It feels very, very good knowing that we got a bunch of group guys that know what to do and how to do it.
But it works both ways. The painters say their job is easier because the body guys give them a great canvas on which to paint.
You always want to work behind the best body men. I remember probably the first month being into it, I was like, man, why is everybody fighting over Martin's work? Who was gonna get Martin's job? Well, I got one for the first time and I was like, oh, okay. I figured that out real quick.
At this point, we are going to sweep up, get it all cleaned up, then we're going to take ammonia and water, and we're gonna clean all this up, get all the fingerprints and the oils from your fingers off of it, and then we're gonna take grease and wax remover, clean the rest of the panel, and then it'll be ready to prime. Because a good prime job will make your work look good.
We use a polyester primer at the very beginning. It's just a real thick base primer.
It's actually a sprayable body filler that we're using for the very first coat. Most paint jobs are between 3 and 4 mils of paint, and a mil of paint is around a sheet of paper. Once we get done putting 5 coats of this sprayable body filler on there, it will be 40 mils of paint. So it's like we actually just laid 40 sheets of paper on top of that car. We don't need to bake it. We're gonna let it set over the weekend before we actually start to block it. And what I mean by blocking is that we're going to take a blocking board, which is this Dura block right here. This thing, it flexes a little bit to kind of go around the curves of the body. But after we get done, this thing will be really straight as an arrow.
I'll go over the whole car and I'll block it all down with 180 grit sandpaper, and that lets me find any flaws, and most of the time I can cut it out with just blocking it with 180. That lets me get the car just as flat as I possibly can. I want to be able to, look down the side of it and not see any waves, any wrinkles whatsoever. What we do after that is we'll give it back to the body man, he'll clean up anything, he'll bring it back to me, and then we put our regular primer over the top of it. And then I'll go over it with a 400 grit wet sandpaper. That's when I'm taking my time, I'm wet blocking, I'm fine tuning everything, just trying to make everything as silky smooth as I can. I really fell in love with the prepping. I have no idea why. It's not the glory part. I don't get to sit back and say, hey, I'm spraying these $200,000 cars, because I'm not. But what I really enjoy about it is I like making sure that when they go in the booth, I personally know that when they get ready to spray and whenever they back the car out of the booth, it's as good as it can possibly be.
And now for the paint. The customer wants yellow, so David drops by the paint counter to make sure it's the right yellow for this car.
Hey Dave, what's going on, man?
How are you?
Oh, good. How's things going up the shop?
Good, good. Getting ready to put some color on the car.
Y'all got something figured out on that yet?
Okay, so I want to talk about yellows. All right, have you got a color deck we can look
Yeah,
at?
I sure do, man.
Because here's what I'm thinking. Okay, so there was only one yellow back then. Code 76 Daytona, that was the original yellow. It's a yellow, but I'm wondering, is it strong enough?
Want something more vibrant? Something
Well, I
that's
don't
gonna catch
know.
more
I don't know.
people's eyes?
I might be overthinking it.
We got some different shades of some solid stuff we got going on here. I know you can start getting to some more of the oranges, and you start getting to some more of the green sides of the yellow. I'm sure you want something that's gonna pop.
Yeah, and that's what I'm thinking is about, like, if you look at this, that's yellow, right? Daytona yellow.
Yeah.
Canary yellow would have been really light. The modern yellows, I started looking at competition yellow, the new vet yellow.
Starts getting more orange.
It's orange.
Yep.
So, I don't know, what do you think?
Man, I would go with what came out on it. That's what they put out on it originally. It catches your eye a whole lot better. It's a whole lot cleaner, a whole lot prettier looking yellow. I can still pull up the old codes.
Cross-reference it, make us a color, even in the EZ.
Even in the EZ, the newest stuff they got out.
Talking waterborne.
I can pull it up right now.
We got Christopher and the guys coming in from Exalta. They're gonna mix it for us. You know, Christopher is one of the 2 guys in the whole company who helped develop the waterborne product.
There you go, Dave. There's that formula and everything that way and get mixed up.
Thanks, man.
All right, no
See you
problem.
later.
Thank you.
Coming up, the Yenko heads to the paint booth and the painters are chomping at the bit.
Come on, man, I want to paint this thing. Let's go.
Classic Industries presents brand new muscle car Yenko Camaro is brought to you by Millwood Disc Brakes, high performance disc brakes in brake components. O'Reilly Auto Parts, better prices every day on auto parts and accessories. R3 Performance, quality parts, attention to detail, and innovative design. And by Classic Industries, America's first choice in restoration and performance parts and accessories.
Welcome back to Tulsa. The painters are making progress on this brand new 69 Camaro. They've given the body a coat of primer and the floor has a coat of hot rod black. It's important for this resto mod to look just like the original Yenko, so the crew has painted Daytona yellow on the door jambs and even made sure to add some overspray on the doors. More yellow inside the fenders and nosepiece, just like the original. The front end is built and almost ready for paint, but first it has to be wet sanded to perfection.
Right now we've got a nice smooth finish on it. How we achieve that is we go through and we wet sand with a 400 grit sandpaper. Let me show you what I'm talking about. What we do is we've got our water bottle, we've got our 3M block, we've got our 3M sandpaper. You can see I've already got this side of the hood done. Now I'm gonna go back over the top of this side. I've got a red guide code primer on here, and what we'll do is we'll just get it nice and wet, keep everything from drying up on you. I like to wet down my sandpaper and the hood real good. Now what I'll do is I'll just run over the top, and I always like to stay at good angles. Angles always help out whenever you're trying to get a good smooth surface. And see how my guide coat's disappearing? What it does is as I'm going down through here, you can really tell if I've got any low spots in my primer, if I've got anything like that. I've got a little spot right here where it's starting to show up as a little bit of a low. I can really get in here and I can fine tune my blocking whenever I get that guide coat just right. But up here at the top, if you'll see what I got going on here, is the hood has a natural dip to the back of the hood. I can wet block all right here all day long, and I'm always still gonna have a little bit of that dip. So what I do there is I'll come back and I'll just hit that at a little bit different angle. And what that'll do is that'll just kind of help smooth that transition out. And we'll just keep doing that over the entire hood.
The guys move the car from the prep area into the paint booth. They need to mask the car to keep the paint only where they want it. But before they do that, one important step: cleaning the body to take off any dirt and dust left over from the sanding process.
The cleaning sucks, but that's what makes the paint job. Surface you put it on.
If we stay in here long enough, we can get Brandon and do the whole white down.
Yes.
Or not, because he's staring right at me.
It's amazing how y'all disappeared.
All right, we'll help him.
Masking can be a complicated process, but a keen eye for detail can make all the difference.
You know, part of this that makes it easy is that we've all worked together for so long that you can probably walk around this whole car and it looks identical from one side to the other because we've all taped together side by side for so many years.
Yeah, I know it. It's like you can stop there and I can start here and it's the exact same.
It's the same style of taping.
If you look at the edge, how it's nice and sharp, we take the tape, flip it over halfway, and it flips the tape over. So whenever you put it up on the edge, there's not a hard line. You put it right up on the edge like that, and whenever paint and clear goes in, there's a little bit of an edge right there where paint is allowed to go in, because when we just taped it off like this, there would be a hard line right there, and that's what we don't want is a hard line. We do it like this, paint and clear will slightly go in, and it'll make it look like there's never an edge.
Got a little hole here. What I'm trying to do is I'm trying to get my tape to cover up the back side of this hole. That way when he's spraying here, we don't get any blowback in the side of our fender here.
I've got it stuck pretty good there. What I'll do next is I'm just gonna take and put a couple precautionary pieces on the backside here.
Hey, you missed us something right here. Just saying.
You can't be serious all the time. So we joke around, we cut up, and we get into stuff all the time, really.
Hey, you missed a spot. I think right there. You know, I hate when I do that.
If we didn't keep it fun, we'd probably end up, you know, quitting. So you gotta have fun in every job that you work at, right? I mean, you gotta enjoy it. I just don't like the way that looks. You might have to redo that.
Hey Dustin, I think you missed a spot.
Oh my God. I had that all pretty.
When did you get in there? I'm really looking forward to spraying this car because of what it is. The first Yenko continuation car ever. So that's why, I mean, I'm gonna be a part of, along with these other guys, doing something that nobody's ever done. That right there is kind of cool. All right, unless Jared's gonna pop out of the middle of it again, are we good?
No, we're good.
We're good. Let's make it shiny.
Yeah.
All right, only thing left to do now is paint it.
Still to come, Dustin and Brandon have been painting cars for decades, but they're using waterborne paint for the first time, so they call in an expert.
Photos and documents shown on brand new muscle car Yenko Camaro, courtesy of Mark Gillespie. For even more about Don Yenko and the supercars that made his dealership famous, look online for the Yenko era and the Yenko era continued, Cannonsburg and beyond.
Welcome back to Tulsa, where the brand new muscle car crew continues prepping the Yenko Camaro for paint.
In our 3 shops, collision, restoration, and builds, we exclusively use Axalta coating products. So that's paint, primer, clear, and a lot of other things that go along with it, hardeners, resins, and we love Axalta. They have a great product. They've been around for a long, long time. They've been in the auto business basically since the beginning, which is 100 years now, and they're the best. And they have great service, great people. We love the products. You can see the finished results when you see our cars. They buff out and they look like show cars every time. Can't say good things about them.
This is the first time the guys in Tulsa are shooting waterborne paint, so Chris Edwards is here from Axalta to make sure Dustin is on board.
Chris, all my life I have sprayed solvent-borne paint. I have never sprayed the waterborne paint. Could you tell me something about it?
Sure. Chromax Easy is our next generation of waterborne. It's made to be easy to mix, easy to match, and easy to spray. One thing you'll notice, this is, off your solvent-borne machine, the paint's always being stirred, right? You come in, you turn on the mixing machine, you stir it up. Well, with Chromax Easy, you'll notice there's no top. All you do is give it a quick shake and you're ready to go.
Is there more solids to it?
It covers better.
Okay.
You're gonna see with the yellow we're spraying today, where you're used to, maybe 4 or 5 coats of yellow to get it to cover. We're probably gonna be covered up in about 2 coats, maybe 3.
So Chris, what you're telling me is less coats, better for my bottom line.
Yeah, absolutely. And the other thing is you're gonna see more cars going through your booth each day.
Yeah, I've got a gold Corvette back there, and you guys can match that color, no problem.
Yeah, and then some. Normally when we come out with a system, we'll develop about 7,000 colors to get the system started. With Chromax EZ, we've got 25,000 colors that are available. Wow. The Yenko's a clean slate, but because we've got this catalog of colors that goes all the way back from the time that the first Ford rolled off the assembly line to today. Get that matched in this waterborne, because at the end of the day, our business is color match. And as the OEMs come out with new colors, we'll have our palette ready for that new model year right on time.
That's going to make my job easy with these old cars, and it's also going to make my job easy for my collisions.
Every brand new muscle car undergoes lots of quality control checks at every step of the build. The team looks over the Yenko body and notices a few flaws.
I'm finding little defects. Either there's a little bit of a sand scratch that didn't get totally sanded out, or there's a little bit of a pinhole. And I'm marking them with a little bit of tape so the guys can find it really quick and hit it with some paper so we don't have to deal with it in the paint process.
We brought it in here and we're checking everything out and finding all this stuff because our prep station, the lights come down from the top and you can't see the sides as well.
If there's a flaw to be found anywhere on the car, the seasoned paint crew of Dustin and Brandon will surely sniff it out.
I worked with Dustin since I was 16, so it'd probably be 22, 23 years ago.
As a matter of fact, it was funny whenever we walked into the shop and the body shop manager was like, "This is your helper?" I'm like, "Yeah." And he was like, "You want to know his name?" I said, "No, he won't be here in 2 weeks."
So what's his name?
Yeah, I don't know.
It's almost like family with us. It's like brothers, I guess. He'd be like my older brother. I was his collision painter for a long time, and then he wanted me to come over here and do this, which I was really wanting to do because I wanted to slow down and just make, you know, everything perfect.
In their quest for perfection, the team finds one more item that could make a big difference.
See the yellow right here where we jammed it? If you look really, really close, you can still see it's shiny. So we go over and paint this. Once we paint it, that's going to be the first place it's going to peel or chip. And it's going to be really easy because it would be painted over unsanded material. So I got to go back through with a Scotch-Brite pad and sand all of that yellow down so that way we get a good bite with the new paint. And plus, it's probably just me. A lot of it is because I get so anal about this stuff that I want to make sure that it's completely right, because it's easier to fix it the first time than it is fixing it the second. It all comes down to the prep work. You can lay on paint as smooth as anybody and as nice as anybody, but if your prep worker is not right, your paint job will not be right. Okay, so now we just got finished cleaning it with the V3921, and we did the grease and wax remover over the top of it, so it's all nice and clean. Now we're going to get ready to go in there. We're going to start sealing it.
A dark colored sealer would show through the yellow paint, so the guys are using a white sealer to make the yellow paint really pop. Sealer is also critical for helping the paint stick to the primered car. Now we saw how the crew sanded after they primered the car. That's so the sealer can grab onto that surface, forming a mechanical bond. But since paint and sealer form a chemical bond with each other, there's no sanding required after the sealer goes on. Coming up, all the prep and quality control checks are done, and it's time to finally spray on the Daytona Yellow.
Classic Industries presents brand new muscle car Yenko Camaro is brought to you by Champion Cooling Systems, high performance aluminum radiators, Heat Shield Products, America's high performance insulation, C-Max, the one product for your engine, transmission, and fuel system, and by brand new muscle car, building yesterday's dream cars today.
Back in Tulsa, the sealer is going on, but Dustin sees a problem.
Okay, you guys want the good news or the bad news? Good news is he's sealing it. Bad news is fisheye on the door from one end to the other.
Yeah. Oh, top edge?
Well, and about 1.5 inches down.
So maybe something was in there that got drug?
Well, I don't know why. We literally cleaned it 3 or 4 times. What we're having going on in here, and it happens every now and then, is you get a contaminant on the panel that we're painting. And what that contaminant does, it's oil or even water or silicone or something like that. It'll actually get on the panel, and whenever you paint over the top of it, the paint will actually separate itself around it. So what we have to do now is we'll have to go back in, let it dry completely, dust some more sealer over the top of it, and then we'll wet block it down, and then we'll be able to spray color right over the top of it.
The team makes quick work of the wet blocking and repairs. They then check every inch of the car with one final inspection.
That looks good. Yeah, everything looks good.
Only 34 original 69 Yenko Camaros wore Daytona Yellow. This will be the 35th.
One of my favorite things about a car is the color. I'm very visual, I have a good color eye, and there's a lot of cars in the shop right now when you walk around, that's one of the first things I'll comment on is, ooh, look at this color. Look how pretty this is. I do it all the time, and most people are visual. It's a huge deal. What color is it? What color do I want it to be? Is it an old car color, a new color? And we spend a lot of time on that, and it's very, very important to get the right color. Painting the Camaro yellow was my idea, and one of the best things about that is Dustin hates yellow. Why does Dustin hate yellow? Traditionally, yellow doesn't cover very well.
I remember years ago whenever I was painting another car, I was painting a Corvette. And we was using a different paint line, and it was a solvent material, it wasn't the water. And it took about 12 coats of yellow to cover it.
What we're gonna do on the Camaro is a little bit different. We're gonna do the modern waterborne paint. And waterborne's been around a while, a lot of people are afraid to try it and use it, but this new waterborne from Axalta, it's called EZ.
The genesis for the product was to come up with a waterborne paint that was really easy for a painter to use. We wanted something that would be easy to mix, easy to match, easy to spray. Every painter's fear, the first thing is, man, it's waterborne, is it going to be different? Is it's not going to be like what I'm used to spraying, because I'm used to working a certain way.
I've got some other buddies of mine that paint water, and they told me whenever I called them up and told them what I was doing, they was like, "You're not gonna have no problem." I'm like, "What are you lying to me? Why do you do that?"
It's a 4th generation waterborne, and it shoots like a solvent, it covers like a solvent, very easy to use, single reducer, you can use it any temperature, any humidity. This new EZ paint covers very, very well, especially in yellow, and we're gonna prove Dustin wrong.
Across the country, regulations are tightening up on the coatings that we spray on cars. The waterborne is a normal base coat, basically, that's got water as a carrier to get it to the surface. It's lower in what we call VOC, or volatile organic compounds, which is what's better for the environment. The chemistry around this product is designed to hide really well, and typically, say we have a primer spot on the vehicle and it's gray and the vehicle is black. You put the first coat of paint over the top of that, you could still see through and see the difference between the two. The more you build up, as soon as you don't see the difference, it's completely hidden.
I was hesitant, but whenever I sprayed it, it was like, this is really easy to spray.
I was really impressed with it. Normally it takes 7, 8 coats of regular base coat to cover. This actually covered with 1.5 coats probably.
Water is getting bigger, and a lot of people are starting to use it. I'm going to consider it, in the future. For us, it's not as important, but for my collision shop, it is because it's way faster. I mean, yeah, we're definitely considering it. If we're going to do it for one shop, we'll probably do it for all of them.
Next time, we see how the '69 Yenko Camaro looks in yellow. And the team gets ready to install the muscle in this brand new muscle car.
We're all sealed up.
We're ready to go.
I knew it.
I knew it too.
When I tell people I have a blast at work, I do. I'm with my best friends all day, every day, and this is just kind of what we do.
I feel it. I saw you. I felt you.